Good evening, everybody. Been a wild couple of days. I'm, 90% sure I'm moving the 1st of October, and I've been looking at apartments. And given this is the Philly area, me in this Philly area, they love to move the goalpost. So, apartments around here, a little interesting. Background check, no problem. Like, what do you want? State police, FBI, I was a firefighter. I got all that shit. What was the other thing they want? They it's like, do you have a job? Yes. Well, what do you make in a week? I'm like, the thing about that is, when you're a model and an actor, it varies job to job. 1 week could be $2,000. 1 week could be $5,000. 1 week could be nothing. 1 week could be $800. There's no way to know. They don't like that. Like, well, we prefer blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, what about assets? Like, what if I have, some savings? Like, well, that's not the same thing as, as having a steady paycheck. I'm like, no, it's better because, like, money in a savings account is mine. Like, it's not, money that you're relatively sure you're going to earn. If it's in my bank account, it's mine. I've already earned it. I said, even if someone has a good paying job, something could happen in a month and they don't have that job anymore. They didn't like that. That didn't seem to make sense to them because this is Chester County and there's, no, this is what I was told, therefore it is right and unquestionable. Okay. Which, okay. Yeah. So I have to, talk to some people who know people where it's like, come on, like, people are playing games with me again and moving the goalposts. Make it stop. I've been a good boy lately. By that I mean I haven't stirred up any, rebellions or called any of their precious good old boys out yet. I'm busy. Things going on. Anyway, wanted to do another Lilith video, and I have a bunch of these planned. One of them that I'm going to get to is how did I exactly, as a male, a straight male, a straight demisexual male, end up, as Lilith as my main deity. And that's an interesting story for another video. And it's not a story many male witches, especially many straight male witches, will tell. Because most aren't pledged to Lilith. But so I'll tell my story on that another day. Little preview of it is she came to me. Why? Well, we have the same enemy. She hates the good old boys club. I hate the good old boys club. And I've been a good little soldier all on my own against them for 20 years. And I guess that got her attention. And I've been a witch since I was 3 years old. So that's the short version of it. But today I have a very special video. 12 signs of Lilith's feminine energy. These are, 12 signs that you're connected to the Dark Mother. That you are experiencing dark feminine energy. And this is whether you're male or female. Oh yes. I've said it before. If you're a male and you want to work at Lilith and she accepts you, it's a little harder at first. You got to balance your male and your female aspects. And you have to embrace the female aspects of yourself in order to tap into her energy. And it is dark feminine energy, and it is going to present in feminine ways. Me hexing, as terrifying and angry as I get, I'm also very effeminate when I do it. It's true. My mannerisms, my voice, my walk, it's very, it can confuse some people. But on the bright side, my hexes usually work. And people who know about Lilith, it's like, well, this is going to work because he looks kind of like a chick right now and he's a dude. So, he ain't faking this because we all know he can't act. Unless you're a casting director, then I can. It's a joke. Probably. But enough. 27 signs that you are experiencing Lilith's dark feminine energy, that you're in sync with it. Number 1, you are nurturing and compassionate. Yes, Lilith, Lilith, if you're not trying to screw her over, pull one over on her, lie to her, or wrong her, or control her, is very compassionate and nurturing. And that is an aspect of dark feminine energy. And it does present itself in men. A good way to test that, ladies. If a guy is in tune, even if he's not in tune with Lilith, if he's in tune with his feminine side, the best way to test that is to see how babies react around him. Babies that he's not genetically related to. Can't be his baby. Or a baby that you're convincing him is his. I'm talking about like a not a friend's baby. If babies are naturally drawn to him, chances are like really high that he's able to tap into feminine energy and he's embracing it, whether he knows it or not. 2, you are affectionate. Yes, affection doesn't have to be in a romantic or a seductive way. Just affection in general. Affection's good. Affection makes people feel important and mattered. Affection's good. I like ENFJs, so I'm biased. They're very affectionate. The big one. This is one that I do naturally. Your intuition is your guide. Yes, women's intuition. Intuition is considered a feminine trait. It is depicted as so in the tarot by the moon card, whereas the sun and stars are male. Yes, that's from the tarot. Even if you know it from somewhere else, he got it from the tarot. But tarot's old. Yes. Intuition. You have to trust your intuition. Many women have decent intuition, better than most men, unless those women aren't of intuitive types and the men in question are, like me. But in general, women's intuition is, have more intuitive thoughts than men, but they don't listen to it. Because groupthink bad. I already talked about that with Lilith. Lilith is a rebel. She's a loner. Be yourself. Be your authentic self. Do not fall in line with what the group wants. That never ends well. And we're just not listening to your intuition, especially if you're an INFJ. Bad things happen. You end up in a career you hate. You end up in a relationship with somebody you hate, or some coked out pirate kills your dragon. Whatever the case may be, depending on the INFJ you are and if you are real or fictional. 4, you are magnetic. Yes, you are magnetic and charismatic. Lilith is known for her charisma. She's very good at articulating her point and what she believes, which is very important for a witch. Which is why female witches, need to be in charge of the current feminist movement, not college girls that say they're queens because they were born upper middle class and think that anything they say is true because they're them. That's not a queen. That's a 20-year-old wannabe baby boomer, and there's nothing empowering about that. Because their whole lives are about keeping up with the Joneses and look at my stuff, and that's not Lilithan at all. So yes, while I fully support the continuing march for women's equality, let the female witches run the show. They've been at it the longest, and yeah, there's a handful of guys like me too, but our role's a little different. We're the double agents. You let us do our undercover work because you can't. Actually, yes, because you're women, because a man can go into men's only spaces. I'm not saying that's right, but in order to infiltrate and find out what these toxic men are doing, you need a man to infiltrate them and hear things and then report back. The life of a male witch. Part of it, anyway. Especially in the old days in the church. Male witches in the old days would always hide within the church. If you see a guy who's kind of witchy, but he claims to be Catholic, maybe he uses his confirmation name as part of his name to try to throw you off, or he's clearly a witch, but he's serving as an altar boy. He's up to something. He's gathering intel. You probably don't know why. He may not know why. He may have been ordered to do it. 5. You are attractive. Well, Lilith is said to be the most attractive woman ever. I believe it. I've seen her in a lot of different incarnations. She doesn't get typically treated all that well in fiction, though, in personality or looks. They always make her look grotesque and demonic. Except for that one incarnation of Lilith where she had a different name and wore a blonde wig. Yeah, that was a good one, because that's how hot Lilith is. Well, Lilith can look however she wants, but she's typically depicted as very attractive and seductive. Powerful. Throws you off. A lot of times she can appear like pretty petite and very attractive and seductive, but she's got demonic strength. Okay, what else did I write down? No. Warm and welcoming. Yes, warm and welcoming. Lilith cares. A lot of what's said about Lilith is slanderous. She never ate babies. That's Judeo-Christian slander to scare people away from her because she defied the big guy, because he wronged her and took away her equality, because Adam cried, because Adam thought he owned her and Adam couldn't actually get her to have an emotional attachment to him to make her want to sleep with him. He wanted her as property, and she said no. God said you have to, and she said no, and then she was told to submit or be exiled, and she said something, we're not quite sure what, something that she wasn't supposed to know, some type of knowledge, and fire and draconic wings, and she flew off into the night. I'll tell more stories about Lilith's origin another time, because I'm already rambling parts of this, but I have to explain each point because, well, I feel like it. Warm and welcoming. 7 is sensual. Yes, Lilith is very, very, very sensual in her presence, and those that are able to use her energy to connect with her are very sensual as well, especially in sex. It's a spiritual kind of thing. It's a form of magic, like sex magic, which you need a connection to the other person to effectively do sex magic. It can't just be you performing the physical act. It doesn't work that way. 8, you take good care of yourself. Lilith is very big on self-care and health. If you cannot, take care of yourself, you cannot help others, because at times you are all you're going to have, and if you're not in fighting shape, you're screwed, kind of thing. 9, it is easy for you to express love. Easy to express love. Yes, ladies, that means be honest about your feelings. And when I mean your feelings, I mean what you as an individual feel, not what your jackass friends want you to feel. Like, oh my God, you should date him and not him because the group said that. You want to be in the clique, or do you want to connect with Lilith? I don't care who your clique is, they're no match for Lilith. And I don't care what authority, whatever your random friends think, like, I'm the ultimate this and this. No. If you're really a strong, independent woman, there's no better example or older example than Lilith. 10, you are creative. Lilith loves poetry, art, all things of that nature, all artistic forms of expression of your emotions and who you are as an authentic person. 11, you are in touch with your feelings. Oh, this one was hard for me. Yes, you are able to understand your feelings and what your desires are and why you want them and what is your motivation for wanting them. Essentially, what's your end game? You got to know that. You got to know what you're striving for. You are receptive. Yeah, you got to be receptive when you're connecting with Lilith, because she sends signs all the time, many of them cryptic. And, she doesn't like you keep bugging her, like, when's this going to happen? When's that going to happen? What does this mean? So you have to be receptive, because it's not really the type that she likes you asking for a sign. She'll just do it and expect you to pick up on it. 13, magical 13. You are comfortable with your inner darkness. Yes, working with Lilith means you must do shadow work. Everybody has a dark side, some of us darker than others. She certainly does, and you have to be comfortable with your dark side, particularly your lust for vengeance, which if you're drawn to Lilith and you're connecting with her, you probably have it. I certainly do. She likes that though, but know why you want that vengeance and know if it's justified. And if it is justified, if somebody did wrong you, yeah, by all means seek it out. You might have to be patient. She was. 14, you are comfortable with cycles and changes. Yes, Lilith will send you through cycles and changes, cycles of suffering. Build you up, break you down. Build you up, break you down. And to help you change into being an authentic version of yourself, the person you want to be, not the person that you've been told you have to be, or the person that you think you need to be to fit in, but who you really want to be. That transformation can be brutal and take time. And you have to learn things along the way. You have to see your vulnerability as strength. So you're going to have vulnerabilities. They can differ in what they are. You have to learn how that can be a strength. Basically find out how your vulnerabilities mean that you actually feel emotions, kind of thing. 16. Take full responsibility for your life. Lilith is about free will. You are the master of your destiny. What is your destiny? What are you striving for? And with her help, and you might need a pact, and depending on what you want and what you offer to do for her, she can make it happen. Not right away. But yeah, you are responsible for your own life. You have to be able to figure out what you want out of life, and it can't be contingent on somebody else. What's your destiny? Not your destiny can't be some other person. It has to be some goal. Big one. Relationships are most important to you. Yes, that one. Whether you are, the independent, strong Lilithan woman, of which I know quite a few, or you're the rare Lilithan guy like me, relationships are important, and often we know what we're looking for. Often it's hard to find because we want someone who accepts us for who we are and not to be like among the sheep kind of thing. And female witches have a problem with this particularly because, well, in a Judeo-Christian society, they're still told they have to be submissive and semi-property, sort of. And they're not going to do that, nor should they. But that can lead to a place where they feel as if, why seek relationships and love? Because if this is the standard, and there doesn't seem to be any exceptions, well, there are exceptions. If, of course, you stop chasing the rich guys, because their entitlements through the roof most of the time. There's always exceptions, but in general, the only thing more entitled than a rich white guy my age is a rich white guy who's a baby boomer. Yeah. Yes, relationships are most important. 18. You create harmonious spaces. Yes, you need a place to recharge, a place where you feel safe, a place where you can connect and meditate. You need that sanctuary. Sanctuaries are good. If you don't have a sanctuary, it's going to be hard to recharge and connect with Lilith and ask questions, get answers, do your shadow work and everything you need to do to transform. 19. Destroy what's out of alignment. When you're connected to dark feminine energy, you're going to have to realign yourself with that energy. And anything that's not aligning with it means it's not aligning with what you're trying to become, which is your true self, and you got to fix that. Like leaving a relationship where you're being exploited, or leaving a job where you're being exploited, or cutting out a narcissist in your life, that kind of stuff. 20, and I'm bad at this one. You are present in the moment. In other words, pick up the signs of what's going on right in that moment and react in that moment. Stop thinking way ahead and planning down the line, you overthinking intuitive. Very hard for me. Very hard for me to get in the moment and live in the moment. And something you have to do in acting too. And it's hard for me to be somebody else unless I'm fortunate enough to be like, here, pretend to be this character that's a lot like you. I'm like, as if I get that lucky. Well, INFJs are overrepresented in fiction, so possibly that could happen. 21, it's a big one. Be authentic. Lilith is authentic, unapologetically so. So, in other words, don't conform. To conform is to submit. And we don't do that. 22. You are elegant and graceful. Pretty self-explanatory, that one. 23. Playful with life. Enjoy the things that you enjoy. In other words, don't be a workaholic. Take notice to what's going on around you. 24. You have a feminine essence. Again, pretty self-explanatory. And yes, guys, we have to figure out how to do that too. It's possible. You can do it, yes. You have a feminine essence shows that you are connecting to feminine energy. It can be your mannerisms. It can be you being open with your emotions, not suppressing your empathy or perhaps your righteous anger. You can display feminine energy and be angry, particularly if you're being angry over things like sexual assault and exploitation, things in that nature. 25. You have a sisterhood. Applies for male witches too. And it's still a sisterhood, not a brotherhood, because chances are, if you're connecting with a group of other Lilith worshippers and you're a male, it's quite likely you're going to be the only one in the group. So get used to that. Yes, have a sisterhood of other witches that, have similar beliefs, similar goals, that are also trying to connect with Lilith towards Lilith's ultimate goal, which is to get her equality back. Because contrary to popular belief, Lilith's all about equality. And by equality, I mean equality, not like female dominance. It's men and women, or right there. It's like, in Lilith's eyes, there's not much difference. They're equal, but there's a few things that are undeniably different, mainly to do with childbirth. Okay, 26. What the hell did I write in my bad handwriting? People tell you are motivated. In other words, you're working towards what you want, not letting anything get in your way. You're destroying obstacles. And 27, you see your femininity in all its aspects. There's a lot that can go in the femininity. As your strength, you find strength in femininity, and you don't see it as a weakness. Goes for guys too. So, yes, women, you're typically told femininity means you're weaker than men, and male witches particularly, that you shouldn't show any feminine traits because that's bad, but you need to find strength in your femininity to be a witch, because they're without Lilith or not, regardless of the goddess, if you can't connect with feminine energy of any kind, you're not going to be able to perform magic. That's kind of the core of it. So, which is good, because a lot of guys can't do that, and there's quite a lot of guys of a certain type that it's good that they can't practice magic. You know what I'm saying? Think, what they would do with it. That's just what the world needs. Good old boys that can do witchcraft. Okay. So that's 27 signs you are connecting with the feminine energy of Lilith. Some will come easy. Some will be hard. Some you'll really have to work on. And you don't have to master all 27. You got to be able to do them. But, obviously, depending on you as an individual, there's going to be certain traits that you rely on more than others. And some you barely do. And maybe one or two where you do it once to prove that you can, kind of thing. So I hope that was helpful for those of you that are seekers and looking to connect with Lilith or any other goddess or just witchcraft in general. That should be helpful. And I should be back tomorrow afternoon. I have my meeting with the Philly casting directors tomorrow, so I've been working a lot towards that too. It's been a busy week. But I will be back. I'm always back. Hail Lilith.